Okay.
Hello.
I hope this is gonna behave.
Yeah, so we'll just give everybody a moment to join us.
Okay,
Um,
if I can get my light. Hold on.
sure,
'Cause
sounds good.
yeah, I don't know if it's gonna. Maybe I should be where I was before. I don't know if this is gonna be any better. Oh, that's a little bit better. That's a little better.
Very nice, good.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just wait another moment or two um,
Okay.
here. Uh, I realize I did not call the stream anything,
Oh, okay.
which is my fault.
Okay, no problem.
Well, hopefully people can find it. There's only one
Okay.
live stream on the website at the moment, so
Okay, that's all right.
ho-
Yeah.
hopefully people can find it. There's a few people.
Great.
So we'll wait just one more moment
All right.
before we get started. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So anyway, we are here with Janice Chandler-Eteme, and my name is Christian Lane, and it's a great pleasure to welcome all of you to the website of Emmanuel Church. I apologize for forgetting to title this live stream on the website, so those of you who have found it, thank you, and I hope others might find it as well. But we're so happy to be able to offer this series called Music at Emmanuel. And to be able to share some beauty in this world, because I think we all need a little beauty right now. What do you
We
say?
do. We do. We really
Absolutely.
do. Yeah.
Uh, but Janice, I wonder if you might just tell us a little bit about how you chose this program, and what these songs mean to you.
Well, these are some of my favorite spirituals and hymns, and I walk with God. Just the words of that song, just match with my sentiments about life and my own spirituality. And basically, that's it. When you emailed me and asked me if I would take part, I thought, okay, the time frame. I think we had maybe 2.5, 3 weeks, and I thought I could try to, do some more involved repertoire, classical repertoire, but then I thought that could be problematic because I haven't, really been coaching. And I thought I better just, stay sort of in my safe zone and do things that, are sort of right, accessible to me, right now. And then I thought, oh, spirituals would be perfect. And
Absolutely.
then, yeah, and then adding the greatest thy faithfulness and the I walk with God. Um, I just sort of that just sort of came into my mind, and I think it makes a really perfect program. Somehow it just all comes together, from the beginning to the end. I was thinking of greatest thy faithfulness and give me Jesus, and I'll walk with God, and were you there? It's kind of from a theological standpoint. It kind of fits into my own theology, so it all worked together.
Absolutely. No, I thought it had a beautiful arc, and it was just such a pleasure putting it together with you. And for those of you who don't know Janice as a colleague, I'm so blessed to have now had the opportunity to work with you, and you're just so easy. It's just like rehearsal should be easy, like it shouldn't be hard.
Yes, and you're so wonderful. I don't know that I said that enough, but
Oh, that's
you're
sweet.
just so, oh yeah, it was a real pleasure to work with you, to collaborate. I hope we get another opportunity.
I hope so too. So
Hmm.
those of you who are joining us, please feel free to put into the chat any comments or questions, particularly if you have any for Janice, particularly since she's our
Hmm.
special guest. I'm just kind of the normal person here, uh, but Janice, like. you're such a, I think, a fixture in Baltimore, is from what
Hmm.
I can tell, and teaching at Baltimore School for the Arts and
Hmm.
many other places. I wonder if you just might talk a little bit about how this whole period of COVID and lockdown has affected not only your work and your mission in
Mm.
your artistic life, but also your teaching and other things.
That's a great question. Well, it's very difficult, to really be quite frank. Teaching virtually is not easy, but yeah, because you know that your students are going through things, and the normal course of things would be able to connect with them, to some of my students, my freshmen, I haven't even gotten a chance to be in the same room with
I know.
them. And so that's just really, really strange. I have a couple of juniors and a couple of seniors, and of course we have a pass together as student and teacher. And so for them, I think it's a little bit easier, but the challenge is to keep your students motivated. That's where I
Hmm.
think the biggest issue comes in, because they've got a ton of work to do. I was talking with a couple of students just a few minutes ago before I watched the program, who were telling me that the work is just being thrown at them, and they're having to just grapple with how to keep up with everything.
Of course,
And then
yeah.
on top of it, yeah, on top of it, they're being asked to record recitals, and it's just very technical, everything that they have to do. And then they don't have the warmth of camaraderie. I had one of my students last week just kind of, she had to just pour out her emotions and just tell me how much, she misses her friends. At BSA, they have a wonderful tradition of recitals every Friday, and the
Okay.
kids get dressed up, and they will all gather in the recital hall, and they're cheering one another on. And see, they don't have any of that, to encourage them. So it is really quite challenging. I'm proud of all of my students, because I cannot imagine, being 17 years old and trying to, do all of that. So I'm very, very proud of them.
Yeah, I'm having enough time at my age, and I'm a little bit older than 17, so
Yeah, I know. We're all
it's
struggling.
it's a whole
Hmm.
new world. Um,
It is.
you seem to have a visceral connection to the kind of the repertoire. At least that's maybe you have that connection with all repertoire, but with the spirituals we sang or performed this evening, I wonder if you might just talk a little bit more about what that specific type of repertoire means to you, and maybe in your own upbringing or otherwise.
Well, the greatest high faithfulness, the actual arrangement that I chose was an arrangement by Nathan Carter, and unfortunately, I didn't have an 80 voice choir behind me, or I wasn't able to be singing with them. But that is an arrangement that is very dear to my heart. I knew Nathan Carter very well. I sang with him many, many times. I worked at Morgan for many years, and so that's why that arrangement is so special to me. And of course, the words, I think in this time, it's important to remember that God is really faithful to us. Things may seem out of control and seem chaotic, but you know what isn't changing? The sun, the moon, the seasons.
Of course.
We still have, peace, the trees, and they're still changing colors. So nothing in nature has really shifted that much. I mean, we have some issues with some calamities and things like that, but for the most part, nature is stable. And so that, for me, that is a sign and a symbol that God is consistent. So
Mhm.
greatest high faithfulness really means to me that God is consistent. And then Give Me Jesus. I mean, Hall Johnson, his arrangements of spirituals are just classic.
Yep.
You just cannot go wrong with those. I've heard a lot of wonderful arrangements, and there's some wonderful writers, African American writers and ranges of spirituals, like Moses Hogan, Evelyn Simpson Currington. But Hall Johnson, Harry T. Burley, they're just classic arrangements. There's so much in my heart, because I've heard, the great singers like Marian Anderson and Leontine Price and Kathy Battle and Jesse Norman, perform this repertoire over the years. I've
Mhm.
listened to them, sing these songs, and they've always just gone straight to my heart. So Give Me Jesus. And then like I mentioned, the I walk with God, the text of that is just, I don't know, it just makes me warm and fuzzy all over. And that particular key, I think it's an E flat. So I
Yeah.
sang it just in my chest voice, just like I would have sung it, when I was singing alto as a youngster. That was my comfort zone.
Hmm.
And so I just sang it just like that. And the were you there? Another just a scene in my mind is just seeing Christ on the cross and all he did for us, and then coming back with that, because were you there ends on were you there when they laid him in the tomb. So there are some arrangements that go on and say, were you there when he rose up from the dead? But that arrangement doesn't have that. So to
Hmm.
come back with the right on King Jesus is the very triumphant, resurrection of Christ. That's kind of how I saw it in my mind. um, and then he's got the whole world, Margaret Bonds. I mean, that is another classic.
One of my
I've
favorites.
always, oh yes, I've always loved that spiritual. And I'm trying to remember the very first time I heard that arrangement. I think I must have been in graduate school at Indiana, and I
Hmm.
think I must have heard, perhaps it was Jesse Norman, but I fell in love with it, and I was like, oh, I have to sing that. I have to sing it. And so I learned it, and I've programmed that so many times over the years. And then the Lord's Prayer is another one of those pieces, just another classic piece that I've sung many, many, many times, but it is so powerful. It brings me to tears, when it's sung, correctly. I've heard so many wonderful artists sing it, and I just thought it would be a great way to end the program because we need a
Absolutely.
lot of prayer.
We do need a lot of prayer right now. I mean,
Yeah.
one of my kind of recordings that I go back to all the time is the Jesse Norman and Kathleen Battle recital from Carnegie
Yeah, from
Hall,
Carnegie.
where they
Yes,
with the Met
yes.
Orchestra and the choir,
Oh,
and and the last
yes.
piece on that recital, or at least on the disc, I assume it was the recital as well, is
Oh,
them doing
yes.
a
Yes.
duet of the Bonds. He's got the whole world, which is just
Yes. I mean,
remarkable.
that is a classic recording. I have friends who were in that choir.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I probably should have auditioned to be in it myself. I don't know why I didn't, but I have several friends of mine were in the choir. Yes.
Yeah, that Carnegie Hall concert I think was one for the legends.
It was definitely one for the legends. Yes. Wonderful.
Janice, did you grow up in Baltimore or?
I, I actually grew up in the Washington D.C. area,
Okay,
PG County.
sure.
Yeah, but not too far down the road.
That's really great. And how
hmm
did you end up becoming a singer? How did you know that that was your kind of path in life?
It kind of chose me, and I know that you've heard people say that probably before. It sounds cliche-ish, but it really did happen for me that way. I really initially wanted to be an attorney, and then I decided I might go into the sciences for a minute when I got into college. And then I was singing in concert choir, and the head of our department, John Dennison, said, you should study voice. You have
Hmm.
really a great gift, and you really should study. So I started studying. My teacher, Ginger Beasley, at the time at Oakwood College, now Oakwood University, was studying with the great Virginia Zayani, the great Romanian soprano at Indiana. And so she actually helped me get to Indiana. And then, the rest is history. I got to Indiana and my whole world just expanded. And I studied with Miss Zayani for 1 year and then with Margaret Harshaw for 2 years. And that was the beginning of my career. Because after coming out of Indiana, I was able to get management, and then I started working.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I mean,
hmm
I know that your kind of core repertoire has included the Strauss' Four Last Songs, which is another one of my
Yes,
favorite pieces,
yes,
um, and also like Gershwin's Porgy and Bess and other things.
yes.
And I wonder if you draw connections between that type of repertoire and the spirituals and sacred songs that we sang this evening.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the four last songs are like, oh my goodness. It's hard for me to describe. Those songs are just so epic. And the Beim Schlafen gehen,
Mhm.
I think that's the third of the four. They're all gorgeous, but that one in particular, you know, thinking about, death, and how, after death, the soul will soar. I mean, it's just one of those. It's that entire grouping of songs just really, it takes everything that I have to sing them
Yeah.
correctly, and to just put my heart and soul into them, and not be overwhelmed with emotion, because I remember my parents have both passed away, but I think of them when I think about those songs and their life together, and the whole idea of aging, the
Hmm.
seasons that we go through as humans. We were once young, and then we get into the summer of our life, and then the fall, and then the winter, and then we fade away. And it really is a collage of all of those ideas of love, of the process of living and dying, and just what happens in the middle, and the mystique of all of that.
Hmm.
And so it's a complete meal. That's a complete musical meal.
Of
Yeah,
course.
definitely. Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
And then Porgy and Bess is just a gorgeous piece of music that really touches on the suffering of Black people, in particular, those that are poor and rural, those
hmm
also that live in the city, and people that work, as fishermen, and do manual labor, and the issue of, drugs that have plagued, the inner city, even during that time back in the early 20s, and the pull of the big city life, and what that represents, and the idea, and then the constancy of, a character like Porgy, who didn't have much, but he had a very strong character, and he
hmm
really wanted to help Bess. And Bess is kind of a tragic figure, because she never really, really attaches in a true way on to anyone. She's kind of tragic in a way, but Porgy is really the foundation of that opera, and the real character that I think it makes the whole thing come together. It's the glue of the opera. It's just a wonderful piece.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, I mean, stunning. Somebody mentioned in the chat that they wanted an encore. Maybe we should have done
Mm,
summertime for an encore
maybe we should
next
have.
next
Maybe
time.
we should have.
Next time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm not seeing any questions in the chat here, so
Okay.
um, I'll just thank you again for your effort and being a part of this program, and all um, those who have watched. Thank you as well, and the video will stay up indefinitely. So please
Thank
come
you.
back and watch it again and again, and share it with your friends. It's this type of beauty that we need in this world right now, I think.
Indeed.
And
Indeed.
I hope, in addition to watching this program as often as you wish, that you feel compelled to join us every 2 weeks on Wednesdays for the next few months, where we will offer similar programs of very different types of repertoire. 2 weeks from now, Ching Li, who is one of the principal violins of the symphony here in Baltimore, is offering a French program of Ravel and Debussy. So
Wow.
that should be fantastic. So 2 weeks from tonight, tune in for that. But thank you, Janice. Thank you, everybody
You-
who's watched. And hopefully I'll see you soon.
All right. Bye, Chris. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye bye. Great. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.